Today let us start the study of Sri Shankaracharya's Tattva Bodha. Today we shall study the last chapter, the fifth chapter, Jivanmukta, the liberated one. The earlier four chapters we have completed, and the concluding chapter. Let us study. First we'll do the Mangalacharan, then we'll carry on with the more slokas. First Mangalacharan sloka. Om Vasudevendra-yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodha Bhidhiyate. Having saluted Sri Vasudeva Parameshwara, who is the king of yogis, who is the guru, who is the best giver of jnana, knowledge, and the truth. This Tattva Bodha, which is itself the knowledge of truth, is being expounded for the benefit of the seekers of liberation. So let us directly come to the last fourth chapter. The first chapter was Adhikari. We have studied the who is competent, eligible. So the second chapter, the Atma Tattva Viveka. We have studied about the definition of Atma and Anatma. Third chapter we have studied the creation, Jagat Utpatti. Fourth chapter we have studied Jiva Brahma Aikya. The Jiva is by essence essentially Brahman. Now, after this realization, the state of the Jivanmukta, one who is liberated, this state will see today. In the fourth chapter, the fifth chapter, last one. In the fourth chapter, the sloka, the last verse we have left over last day, was that verse enumerated about the Jivan Mukta. So today we'll begin with this last verse, number 35 of the fourth chapter. Before that, the Jiva Brahma Aikya that had been established, and in 34.1, Sri Shankaracharya says, Evam cha Jiva Ishvarayah Chaitanya Rupena Abhede Badhaka Abhav. He says here, like this, that Jiva Brahmaikya which we studied in the last day, that Jiva is verily Brahman. Ishvara, when that its Sarvajnata and the gunas, it has been removed as Upadhi, and only the Nitya Shuddha Chaitanya Swarupa remains. The Jiva also is Alpajnat, that is removed, and the Upadhi is removed, and only his Nitya Chaitanya Shuddha Mukta Swarupa remains. In this Swarupa, Shuddha Chaitanya Bhava, without this Upadhi, Jiva and Ishvara is the same as Brahman. That I am Atma Brahma. He says that in the 34.1. So there is no contradiction. There is no Badhaka Abhava, or contradiction regarding the identity between Jiva and Ishvara. From the standpoint of awareness of the Chaitanya Swarupa, Jiva and Ishvara is verily the same. Atman and Brahman, the one and the same. I am Atma Brahman. So when this relation dawns, then that person is called Jivan Mukta, who is liberated while living. While he is alive, he is liberated. So that has been said in 35. From here we'll start today. It says, Evam cha Vedanta Vakyahi Sadguru Upadeshana cha Sarveshu api bhuteshu yesham brahma buddhi utpanna te jivanmuktaha iti arthaha. He says, evam cha, like this, thus, what has been told last day, that Jiva Brahma Itya, Jiva is verily Brahman. So like this, when it is understood, how understood? By Vedanta Vaktahi. Vedanta, the Shruti, the Upanishads, it has been enumerated, like Am Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, then Prajnanam Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma, they said. This is in Rig Veda, Aittira Upanishad, it has been said Prajnanam Brahma. In the Yajur Veda, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it has been said Aham Brahmasmi. The Sama Veda, Chandak Upanishad, it has been said Tattvamasi. After Tattvamasi, then in Atharva Veda, in the Mandukya Upanishad, it has been said Ayam Atma Brahma. So like this, through Vedanta Vakya, this Mahavakya, and also the Sadguru Upadeshana, the Sadguru. The Guru only gives this advice through Guru Vakya only. It is not by only mere book learning, teaching by theoretical understanding. When Guru gives this knowledge, only then it kindles a fire as it were in the heart of the Shishya, and through sadhana he realizes the truth, not by only by book learning. So both, he says, Shastra, says so, the Shruti Upanishad, Vedanta Bhakti, Sadguru Upadeshana Cha. So both, by a teacher, by Sadguru, who is a competent teacher, and also by the teachings of Vedanta, the words of Vedanta. Sarveshu api bhuteshu. In all the bhutas means all the beings. All the beings in this world, in this universe, sarveshu, without any exception, all the beings, everybody is the Panchabhuta Vikar. This world, universe is the Vikara, the Jara also is made of Panchabhuta, the Jiva, all the Jivas also made of Panchabhuta. So all sarveshu api bhuteshu, in the whole the world, this Yesham, by who? By this person, this sadhaka who, when realizes what happens, Brahma Buddhi Utpannaha. When this Brahma Buddhi arises, when it really dawns upon him or her, that Brahma Buddhi, that he gets that knowledge, or which was as it was supta or covered due to ignorance. But now this Brahma Buddhi arises or awakens, or the cover, the ignorance is removed, the ajnana is removed, then he gets that knowledge, Utpana, that's why it arises, the Brahma Buddhi, that this Ayamatma, that my essence is Brahman, and also in the Sarveshu Bhuteshu, in this whole universe, the whole universe is verily Brahman. Only Brahma itself is, by this Maya, as it were, appears to be this Jagat and this Jiva, Jara, everything appears to be. But like Sri Ramakrishna gave this initially, went to Swamiji, he didn't want to believe that this, and he was laughing, ridiculing with Pratak Chandra Hajra, that Ghotita Brahmo, Batita Brahmo. He was not believing this truth. Swamiji was Narendra Datta, and then Sri Ramakrishna is a Bhava. He came to both of them, Pratak Chandra Hajra and Swamiji, Narendra Datta, and asked, what are you talking about? They were laughing, how can it be? This Ghati Brahma, Bhati Brahma, everything is Brahman, only everything is this is Brahma. Then Sri Ramakrishna touched Narendra Datta, and it says that he, in that very touch, through this, the grace of Guru, he, that moment from for the few time, for the some few days together, it appeared to him this whole world, even the whatever in this the Jara Vastu, what is taking the food, where he was walking in the streets of Calcutta, everywhere it appears to be, it's simply Brahman only. It is with Chaitanya Satya. Satta. It is not that something here and not something in or something. So that is, he got the glimpse of that Brahma Buddhi that time. And later on, by his grace, and Kashipur, much later, he got the Niribhur Samadhi, and future also again got that essence. So here that essence, the very beginning, he says that when this one is established, Brahma Buddhi Utpannaha, te Jivanmuktaha iti artaha. When one is established fully in this Brahma Buddhi, he never wavers from that. It is very much established in that. And that way it is said in the Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana, is Brahma Buddhi Jivanmukta. There is stara or stages. Brahmavid, Brahmavid Vara, Brahmavid Varyan, Brahmavid Varishtha. There are stages of that according to Ishvara Ichha and Prarabdha, that whether his body will fall off in 21 days or he'll live on for a long few more some time or not. So accordingly, but the knowledge is the same. Knowledge of Brahman is the same for whatever category happens, whether Brahmavid, Vara, Varyan or Varishta. The knowledge of Brahman is the same. Only the expression of that in the world, whether according to Ishvara he has to teach this Brahmavid to others, then he leaves, and others after 21 days they falls away, and like that differences are given. So about this Jivan Mukta now, how the Jivan Mukta, the state of the Jivan Mukta, it will be discussed in the last chapter now, in the fifth chapter. In the fourth chapter, last sloka, we found that only that it was said that Brahma Buddhi, when it happens by the Upadesha of Sadguru and Vedanta Bhakti, and sees that in every being that Brahman, then he is called Jivan Mukta, he or she. Now about this Jivan Mukta, some details idea discussion will be in the last chapter, fifth chapter. So we'll come to the last chapter now. We'll just come to the here again. The presentation we see, the presentation is coming. The fifth chapter, Jivan Mukta chapter. So Nanu Jivan Mukta Kaha is asking in the fifth chapter, the number 36. So he says that so what exactly or who exactly is Jivan Mukta? Hence please explain more. Earlier it was given the result for Jivan Mukta in the earlier sloka. It was given when it happens by the Upadesha of Guru and by Vedanta Bhakya, and when one sees Brahma Buddhi in all beings, then he is called Jivan Mukta. But here he asks more clarification about the concept of Jivan Mukta, so here it will be given. What does it mean exactly? You say that it is evolved, happens arises when one through Sadguru Upadesh with grace, Vedanta Bhakta says, and he sees the same Brahman in all the beings. So what is this seeing of say Brahman in every himself, herself, and all beings? Sarvesha Bhutati. What is that? That has been said in 36.1. He is saying, Yatha deho aham, Purusha aham, Brahmana aham, Shudra aham, Asmi iti, Dhrira nischayah, Tatha, Naham aham Brahmana, न शुद्रः न पुरुषः किंतु असंगः सच्चिदानंद नंद स्वरूपः प्रकाश रूपः सर्व अंतर्यामी चिदाकाश रूपः अस्मि इति दृढ़ निश्चय रूपः अपरक्ष ज्ञानवान जीवन मुक्तः. A big definition. Let us come and slowly. Yatha, as it were, like, as for example, Yatha, just as one, what happens, like, one says that Deho Aham, that when somebody is asked, who are you? But we say that I am this, I am this, I am Mr. ABC, or I am Mr. XYZ, this is my name, we tell our name like so. And we think that this, I am limited to this body, to this figure, with this name and with this form. So that's why we say, naturally we think that Deha Aham, I am this Deha, I am this body. And we think that Purusha Aham or Stri Aham, this is identity or identification. We think that I am man or I am woman, I am a boy, I am a girl, this is my name, I am this body, this is our idea, commonly. And we may say that Brahmana Aham, according to your Varna, I am Brahman, or I am Shudra, or I am Kshatriya, or I am Vaishya, or Ashrama Dharma, I am a Sannyasi, I am a Grihastha, I am a Vanaprasthi, I am a Brahmachari. Generally, this is what we say, our identity. That's why this is commonly we say Brahmana, Shudra, Asmiti. This is our idea when asked, who are you? Or what I am, who am I? This is the answer we get to ourselves. But Tatha, that we naturally, this is commonly we get. But similarly, in case of Jivanmukta, Tatha, similarly for him, this idea he will be verily convinced and establishing this idea that Naham Brahmana. Here it was I am body, or I am this identity with this and that, Purusha, Sri, Brahman, etc. Here identity will be not I am not Brahmana, or not Shudraha, or not Purusha, not Sri, or I am not this body, or I am not this sannyasi, not this Abhiśasta. All this identification will be not there. But what will identification will be there? He will say, or he or she will say, Kintu, but I am Asangaha. I am not attached with all these identities. I am not attached with all these identifications. Like a crystal, Sphatika is there. It is always transparent without any color. But proximity of a red or blue or grey flower, it appears to be red crystal or blue crystal. But really it is without any attachment, it is not being colored, not at all. It appears to be. Similarly, when it understands here also that asangaha, I am not attached to these identities of Purusha, Sri, Shudra, Brahma, Deha, etc. But what I am then? I am Satchidananda Swarupaha. Satchit Ananda Swarupaha. This is my nature. The Satchidananda word we have already studied when in that chapter Atma Tattva Vivekaha, that Atman is Satchit Ananda Swarupaha. It is Sat Swarupa, it is Chit Swarupa, it is Ananda Swarupa. We remember that in that chapter earlier, much earlier, we read in the third chapter, it was second chapter, it came. Here it was given, in second chapter, that here, Atma Tarhiti, 16.1, Satchidananda Swarupaha. Sat kim Kalatrayapi Tishtati iti Sat. Sat is, which is, remains unchanged, Kalatraya, all the three periods, past, present, future, Tishtati iti. Chit kim Jnana Swarupa, it is nature of absolute knowledge. And Anandakaha Sukha Swarupaha, it is nature of absolute happiness. So that was the Atma is Satchidananda Swarupaha. So this he is telling here, this definition that of Atma Tattva, this fifth chapter, that I am Atman, that I don't have all this relativity in me. Instead, I am Satchidananda Swarupaha. And Prakasha Rupaha, I am that effulgent, the Prakasha Rupa, that I am the Swarupa through which everything else is being manifested. Like we think that sunlight or moonlight or that yeah, fire, etc., light that gives the illumines everything else, and that gives the light to we can see and perceive, experience anything else. But the source of all light, Prakasha, is in itself is Atman alone. That he says, because of Atman only, this Chaitanya Jyoti only, sun, moon, and fire, there are the secondary sources through which they enlighten other objects in the world. Like, for example, that sun gives light and sun's reflected light, moon gets, and through moon's reflected light, we see, like in the full moon day, full moon night, we see the Purnima night, we see the earth, that is, the moon doesn't have its own light, it is reflected light from sun. Similarly, it is said that it is the Prakasha, is main Prakasha is an Atman only, or Brahman alone. From its light only, that sun is getting light, or moon and fire, everything gets light. So Brahman and Atman is Prakasha Rupa, it is the effulgent Swarupa, nature. And Sarva Antaryami, it is the indweller of all beings, within everybody, every being, even Jara also. Not only living beings, but also Jara. Like Swamiji saw Ghatita Brahma, Bhatita Brahma through the touch of Sri Ramakrishna. Everything was filled up and full with Brahman alone. Sarva Antaryamin. Sri Ramakrishna also saying his realization that সবকিছু যেন চৈতন্যের জোরে আছে, জানো সে মোমের, আমি যেন মোমের ঘর, মোমের বাড়ি, মোমের গাছপালা সব দেখছি, অর্থাৎ এভরিথিং অ্যাজ ইট বাই were fulfilled, filled up with Brahman. That was Sarva Antarjamin. Everything, the essence of it, within that indweller of all beings or all objects, is Brahman alone. And Chidakasha Rupa Asmiti. Chidakasha Rupa. I am that formless awareness. Chidakasha means that the formless says that is the Chit Akasha, that great Akasha, raised vastness, is formless, and Chit, which is a Satchit Ananda, which is without any limitation. Mahakasha is also in a form in that small in that way. Chittakasha is the vastness of the mind, Chitta, and Mahakasha is the outer space which you see. So that is also very small in the relation to the Chidakasha. Chit means that Chit Swarupa, Brahman Swarupa. And that vastness of that which is formless, without any limitless, that vastness. That Chidakasha Rupa Asmi. I am that. Myself is that vastness with of essence of Chit Akasha, Chit Rup Akasha, Sat Chit Ananda Rup Akasha Smriti. And Drida Nischaya, without any doubt, it is firmly convinced about that. Like in ignorance, we are convinced that I am a man, I am a woman, I am a boy, I am a girl, I am a body, or Brahman, Sudra, Kshatriya, or Sannyasa, Grihastha, etc. etc. My name is ABC, my name is XYZ, so and so. This name is Mrs. Similarly, here is that opposite, similar conviction, without any doubt, firmly ascertained. Drira Nischaya, I am not all those, but I am the Satchitananda Rupa, Swarupa. I am not Purusha, I am not Sri. Those are essence, by essence, I am a Sarvantarjami, Sarvesya Bhuteshu, Brahma Buddhi. That happens. That Aparaksha Jnanavan, this Aparaksha knowledge, this is not Paraksha, this is not secondary knowledge, this is not indirect knowledge. This is aparaksha. Pratyaksha means direct, which we seen by the indriyas, by a sense organs. It's called pratyaksha. We see it through our eyes, we hear with through our ears. This is called pratyaksha, direct. And paraksha is indirect, which is not direct. But aparaksha is opposite of paraksha, means it is direct. But this directness is not the same direct like pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is by through instances, indriyas, but this aparaksha, this type of direct is beyond the indriyas, indriya teeth. That was through indriya, pratyaksha is through indriya, but aparaksha is beyond, transcending the indriya. Indriya atita, indriya atita. That's why here it is not called pratyaksha, it is called aparaksha. So that we make him distinguished, different from pratyaksha. It's not through indriya sense organs, it is something different from sense organs. That's why paraksha and aparaksha is direct but not direct like indriyas. That's why it is called aparaksha. Like when Turiyanand used to sleep, somebody asked him, Ashram the others, that do you sleep like us? He says, yeah, I sleep, but not like you people. Like a Brahmagani, when he even sleeps, he is that Bodha, then I am that Bodha, that Swarupa, Satchidana Swarupa, that will be there. Like Sri Ramakrishna used to sleep very less, and that Swamiji also used to sleep very less, but that Bodha used to be always there. Ramana Maharshi also life is there. That that knowledge, realization was always there, even in a sleep. That is there. That so told Aparaksha Jnanavan is called Jivanmukta. Is that indirect, not knowledge, but direct knowledge, but which is not through senses, which is beyond senses. Vyatita. That is called Jivanmukta. So after this, he says in 36.2, Brahma eva aham asmi iti aparaksha jnanena nikhila karma bandha vinirmukta syat. He is saying, Brahma eva aham. When one knows this knowledge that aham brahmasmi, I am Brahman, that I am not this body, I am not this deha, I am not this sharira. Instead, I am Brahman. The tattva must be of that. When one gets the knowledge through the grace of Guru Upadesha and by Vedanta Vakya, Mahavakya, then Brahma eva aham asmi iti aparaksha jnana, not by book knowledge, not by theoretical knowledge, not by intellectual knowledge, but by aparaksha jnana, this direct knowledge which is beyond the uh, uh, indriyas. Through that knowledge, when he gives the idea that I am Brahman, then nikhila karma bandha, that all karma, nikhila, everything, all types of karma, the work and its bondage, karma bandha, all is bondage of the all types karma, vinir muktaha. Vinir mukta means he gets rid of, he gets free of, becomes free of all types of bondage. Yeah, it happens to him. How it happens? Now it comes that what is alter this types of karma which he gets rid of. Then he will explain a little bit of what are these different types of karma. He will say 37.1. Karmani kati vidhani santi iti chet. He said, if it is asked, karmani, whatever these different types of karma, kati vidhani. He said in earlier one, 36.2, the Nikhila karma bandha, all types of karma, is Vinay he is free from that. So here he is telling, what are those different types of karma, santi iti, that you are telling here, chet. Then he says, answering that, agami, sanchita, prarabdha, bhedena, trividhani santi. There are three types of karma. What are they? Agami karma, sanchita karma, and prarabdha karma. There are three types of karma. So now he will explain each karma in details. That what has been told earlier. 37.2 he will say for the first one. He will say, Jnana utpatti anantaram Jnani deha kritam punya papa rupam karma yat asti tat agami iti abhidhiyate. Jnana utpatti anantaram. After the utpatti of jnana, after the knowledge arises, jnana means that once becomes Brahma Jnani, once realizes the Atman, after that, anantaram, after the dawning of knowledge, once becomes enlightened, becomes liberated after that, whatever Jnani Deha Kritam, through his body of this Jnani, who is already liberated, of Jivanmukta, after Jnana, whatever through his body, Punya Papa Rupam Karma Jat Asti. When Jivanmukta is alive, he has been liberated, but the body is still there. He is alive, he does different works through his body. So, whatever his body does, karma, whether Punya karma or if through some Papa karma also happens, he says, whatever karma it happens, good and bad karma happens, performed through the body, that karma, tad agami iti abhidhiyate. Agami means future. So he says, whatever that karma happens after the being liberated, after being Jivanmukta, after the dawn of knowledge, after the knowledge arises in him, Abhiśasta Baad, good or bad, whatever karma happens to the is performed through the body, that is called agami karma. Then he says, Sanchita karma kin. Then what is Sanchita karma? Sanchita means it is stored. Sanchay. The storehouse में जो रखा हुआ है, that is संचित कर्म. That is it. Stored कर्म क्या है? That is 7.4 he is telling. अनंत कोटि जन्मनां बीज भूतम सत यत् कर्म जातम पूर्व अर्जितम तिष्ठति तत् संचितम ज्ञेयम. He is telling Ananta Koti Janmanam. Ananta, innumerable, without any count, so many, infinite as it were, endless. Koti Janmanam, Koti, you cannot count them, crores of births. Earlier, the Bija Bhutam, which are there as a seed form, all your previous births, that in seed form which are karma has been done and it remains, Sat Yat Karma Jatam. पहले पहले अनंत कोटि जन्म में पूर्व में अर्जित किए that whatever karma has been done in all the past lives and in the seed form they are already stored in the storehouse as it is remaining here to be fulfilled later on, means that karma will give its result later on. It could be given that later on some other birth, that karma jatam purva arjitam, that through that earlier birth he had got this karma through his deeds, good and deed births. It is still in the seed form. It is remaining like a seed. It will keep a seed in the some container. Later on, if you bring out the seed and put it in the soil and put water and all the manures, etc., then the seed will sprout up in a new tree, plant. Similarly, that whatever earlier karmas are there in the seed form there, it will sprout up for all the future births. It is remaining, waiting for that. Puruvarjitam, earlier you have done. The Krishna is still awaiting there, still remaining there. That's Sanchitam Jnayam. So all these karmas are stored karma, they're just waiting, awaiting there, that whenever that the real environment will come, that seed will put in the soil and you put water, it will start its plant. Similarly, saplings, similarly all the earlier karmas are waiting for the future births when that similarly environment will come. So according to that karma, that new birth and according to new birth, that new it will work out in that new environment. It was waiting for that. That is sanchita karma. So past karmas. And agami we said that is the future, that for after jnana, which is good and bad karma. Then telling the, what is prarabdha karma. He says prarabdha karma kimiti chet. Then what is this prarabdha karma after agami and sanchita, the third type of karma? He is telling 37.6. इदम शरीरम उत्पाद्य इह लोके एवं सुख दुखादि प्रदम यत् कर्म तत् प्रारब्धम भोगेन नष्टं भवति प्रारब्ध कर्मणा भोगादेव क्षयम् इति. Is telling that this sharira, idam shariram, this sharir, utpadya, after this the present birth, which birth we are already there, which birth he got liberated, he became Jivanmukta, that sadhaka, that birth. The idam sharir utpadya, then this birth, after this body has been formed in this birth, I got this body, iha loke, this loka, in which loka we have got manusha loka, we have doing sadhana when this loka with this birth. By this body we become Jivanmukta after we realize that Brahman. Then evam sukha dukkadi pradam yat karma, in this birth after in this loka after getting this birth and this body, whatever good and bad, sukha and dukkha, pleasure and pain, whatever karma happens to us, sukha dukkadi dene wala karma which happens to us, tat prarabdham bhogena nashtam bhavati. So that is sukha dukkha, that karma, it has been destroyed by through bhog, so dwara only, through that enjoyment of or that experience of that karma. Sukha dukkha di karma nashtam bhavati, that prarabdha karmana bhogat eva kshayam iti. Through bhog only, through enjoying or through experiencing the sukha dukkha, whatever happens that this body formed. Like Thakur says that a blind person taking birth, taking Ganga Snana, all his papa has been destroyed by Ganga Snana, but his blindness is not destroyed by Ganga Snana, because he got this body by Prarabdha and this blindness that he has to endure. That Sukha Dukkha, whatever body has been has taken birth in this birth, this life and this loka. So that only you have to endure, and by bhoga, by enjoyment or experiencing that sukha dukkha only, kshaya, then only that has been destroyed. So having given birth to this body, the actions which give results in this very world, whether it is form of happiness or misery, which can be destroyed only by enjoying or suffering, by experiencing them, that is called prarabdha karma. There is no other way to get rid of the prarabdha karma. So now he says, what happens in the case of Jivanmukta? He says, Jivanmukta case number 31, he says, Sanchita karma, Brahma eva aham iti, nischaya, atmaka jnanena nashyati. Now the three types of karma he says, for the Sanchita karma, Prarabdha we already said that it is only destroyed how? By experiencing them. Pleasure and pain, happiness, misery, by enjoying or suffering. There is no other way to get rid of the Prarabdha karma. And Sanchita karma, how is destroyed? He says, Sanchita karma, Brahma eva aham iti. When we know that I am Brahman, that means when we realize about Brahma, that I am Brahman, then Nischaya Atmaka Jnanena, when this Nischaya Atmaka Jnana happens, that I am Brahman, without any doubt. But he said that normally we, and ignorantly we have said I am body, I am this, I am male, I am female, like that. When a Brahma Jnana we know that I am not this body, I am Brahman, I am Satchit Ananda Rupa, when without any doubt you get this knowledge, then this Sanchita Karma Nashyati, then it gets destroyed. Sanchita Karmas, all the seeds which would have given birth to future births. So these are destroyed, because after Brahmajnana you are not getting any more birth. This is your end birth, last birth. You are not getting again born, unless only that through will of Ishvara, you get birth again to do the work of Ishvara for Loka Sangraha, for the benefit of the world, and special case, exceptions. So by rule that all the Sanchita karma destroyed when you get Brahma Jnana. Like a Dagdha Vija. When a seed, when it's stored in a stored house, later when you put it in soil and put in water, it will again sprout and plant. But if you burn the seed, it is Dagdha, it is burn the seed. Then that burnt seed, if you put in the soil and you put in water, then the burnt seed won't bring out any plant, any from that saplings from the soil. It's called Dagdha Vija. The Bija seed is burnt totally. So it won't sprout any new plant, any new tree. Similarly, the Sanchita karma, when one gets the knowledge that I am Brahman, I am Drashta, I am a Sakshi, I am not this Karta, so he is not being bound by this any karma of this body, then all the Sanchita karma destroyed. Then what happens to Agami karma? He says in 38.1, he says, Agami karma api jnanena nashyati incha Agami karmanam nalini dalagata jalavat jnaninam sambandhan asti. He says Agami karma api, Agami karma also jnanena nashyati, through jnana, when jnana dawns, when once jnana arises, then Agami karma also gets destroyed. Like Sanchita karma, that Agami, future this karma, means after jnana, whatever karma one performs, whether good and bad, punya, papa, that karma also, future this karma also gets nashyati, that also gets destroyed. Kincha, but also Agami karmana, this through Agami karma, how it happens? Nalini dalagata jalavat jnaninam sambandha nasti. Like a padma, that lotus leaf stayed in the water, but it is not stained, it does not get wet, it doesn't get at all wet by water on it. It always remains dry. Similarly, a jnani also lives in the world. Swamiji says that he is a sannyasi or ideally jnani, means ideal sannyasi, he will be in the world but not of the world. That means that he will be in the, like Thakur says that Sri Ramakrishna, that a boat should be in the water, but water should not be in the boat. There is a meaning that should not be stained by these actions, and after jnana, that the water should not drown it. Or like in Padma Pada, lotus leaf, it's not wet by this water where he stays. Similarly, the Agami karma, whatever karma after jnana is performed by the jnani, that punya or papa, the jnani itself is not affected, like a lotus leaf is not affected by the water. Then what happens about this papa and punya karma of the agami karma of the jnani? Because he is not affected, the jnani, for the jnani, all this agami karma nashyati, if the jnana, through jnani is destroyed, he becomes unattached like a lotus leaf. But what happens about those papa and punya, what happens to his body when he is alive, Jivanmukta, still he dies, that Jivanmukta person. What happens to what karma he does after jnana? It is said in 30.12. Kincha ye jnanino stuvanti, bhajanti, archayanti, tan prati jnanikritam agami punyam gacchati. This 38.2 is very important. What happens? Kincha, he says the how this jnanis papa punya karma, because jnani is not affected like a lotus leaf. Nalini dalagata is said earlier, Nalini dalagata jalavat is not affected. Then what happens to his karma when he is alive? He still is doing some karma as jnani. Through his body some papa purna may happen. He says, Kincha jnaninam stuvanti, the other persons, other people who stuvant, who do stuti for the jnana, who praises the jnani, who bhajanti, who worships the jnani, who archayanti, who adores the jnani, जो स्तुति करता है, सेवा करता है, पूजन करता है, अर्चना करता है, तान प्रति, to those people, to those persons who still know Ajnani, but he worships and adores and praises this Jnani, Tan Prati Jnani Kritam. Through Jnani, whatever karma happens, that Agami karma, that which karma, the Punya karma, the good karma, what through Jnani's body happens. Because Jnani is not attached, for Jnani is desperate for Jnani, it is not attached like a lotus leaf. But for those people for who worships praises, adores the Jnani, for to those person, this Jnani's Agami, the Punya Karma, good karma, goes. That's why it is said that Sadhu Seva is very, very important, that through Sadhu Seva Fal Amog, it's very imminent. Because when you praise or do puja to worship sadhu means, it is meant the jnani, the sannyasins here means ideal sadhu, ideal jnani, ideal sannyasins. When one worships, adores, puja or chanti, one does that, then whatever punya karma happens, takes place through the body of the jnani, because jnani is not affected by those punya karma. For him, he is established in I am Brahman state. So all this punya goes to the other people. And through that Purna Seva, if he does in a state of Nishkama Karma, a state of Nishkama Karma, through that the other Ajnani, other common people who worship the Jnani, if he does in a state of Nishkama Karma Bhav, he offers that to the Ishta, to Ishvara. Through that Nishkama Karma, the other person also very fast, through his Nishkama Karma Yoga, he also can become a Jnani, slowly with time. And if he does Sakama Karma also, he wants to do that Punya only, Punya Arjan. That also through Punya also he gains very good state of life. Like Thakur says about Mathuranath. Mathuranath, Mathur Babu, he did very good seva to Thakur, but he did in a Bhava Sakama Karma, not in Nishkama Bhava. Thakur says through that Sakama Bhava, he didn't get liberated, but he went to higher Devi Loka and he had get born, again got born to as some king. So very good state he will get about through his punya karma. So that is in sakama karma if he does by sadhu seva by sakama bhav, and he does by sadhu seva and sadhu. That sadhu means ideal sannyasi as a guide as an idea, as a nishkama karma. Then that seva also, that puja also through the nishkama karma, his punya he offered to Ishvara. That also himself also get purified, chitta shuddhi, and that puja or seva also very fast he can become jnani himself or herself. And the other one opposite what happens, if that about the papa karma through that jnani's body, if it happens, what happens? Ye jnaninam nindati vishanti tan prati jnani kritam sarva agami sarvam agami kriyamanam yad yad avachyam karma papatmakam yad gacchati. Then he says, the persons who Jnanam Nindati, who does the opposite. Earlier person was been praising the Jnani, but here one who abuses the Jnani. He says very bad about the Jnani. But Dushanti, who hates the Jnani, जो जिसको निंदा करता है, द्वेष करता है, to those person who does very bad to a Jnani, or thinks ill of Jnani, thinks very negative of the Jnani, or hates the Jnani, does harm to Jnani, abuses Jnani. For them, Jnani Kritam, through Jnani Kritam, Sarvam Agami Kriyamanam, through Agami, whatever Agami Kriyaman Karma. Kriyamana Karma is also another name of Agami Karma. Sanchita is the past karma, we said that for future birth and seed form which gets destroyed. Prarabdha is which that this birth which is happening, and Kriyamana Karma also which is happening. Through Kriyaman which is happening now, right now through his body. The Kriyaman which is right now it is being performed through his body. Agami future what good and bad will perform, and now also what is happening to his body, good and bad. For good karma, we said the punya happens to the other person. For bad karma, yad avachyam, the samastam karma papatmakam tad gacchati. जो ज्ञानी को निंदा करता है, जो द्वेष करता है, उसके प्रति ज्ञानी के द्वारा हुए उन समस्त आगामी क्रियमन कर्म का फल जाता है. तद्वाच्यम कर्म पापात्मकम तद गच्छति. जो पापुरो अवाच्य होता है, अवाच्य, cannot be said about this. It is plain avachya. You cannot utter. So bad karma. So all that's why it is an avachya karma, because you cannot utter such things. That whatever a person hates a Jnani, does a ninda to a Jnani, who does a harm to a Jnani. So that those state default to that abuser to the Jnani. Those who abuse, hate or cause pain, sorrow to a Jnani, to them goes the result of the sinful actions done by the Jnani. If through Jnani's body any negative such karma happens, that avachyam karma, papatmakam, happens to the body of a jnani, then those results go to the person who says ill of the, speaks bad about negative of the jnani, or who hates or does harm to the jnani. The other example you can take this. Suppose a person, archer, he has taken a bow and arrow. He is taking the bow and taking an arrow, and is throwing the arrow through archery. And some arrow he has already thrown away, and some arrow is put in the bow and already figured that, and he has put that through his arrow and put that in a focus towards some goal, and the other arrows are still behind in his that container in his behind his back. So three just arrow there. Some arrow already has been thrown away. When he has focused and thrown away, some arrow already in the bow. Bow is just aiming that towards some laksha, towards some aiming some point. And some arrows are still one arrow is thrown away. Some one arrow is in the hand with the bow focusing, and other arrows are behind in his back shoulder. So now in this state, suppose he thinks that I will no more do this archery. And what he'll do, he'll, which is arrows are in his shoulder, the stock, he'll throw away this arrow. So those are sanchita karma, like seeds. He'll throw away, he no more throw any more arrow. So these are comparable to the sanchita karma. Means he are no more using those arrow which is in stock in his shoulder. So these are the sanchita karma, which is seed form for future arrow throwing future arrows. He will no more throw that. Then that was sanchita, which is in stock. They are no more using that. And which is that kriyamana karma which is happening now, agami that, which is that which is in his hand, that his hand is already that arrow is there, and that arrow he may already that throw, or he may just fall it, he may not put it. According, that's why according to prarabdha or according to his ishwar ichha, he may throw that arrow, or he just waste the arrow, throw away that arrow. So that is the agamiya kriyamana karma, which is doing that karma. So that karma, whatever he does, because no more he, suppose he no more he is taking part in a competition. So there is no more to he is becoming a first, second, third, no more question. He said that I am removing myself, I am rejecting myself, I am withdrawing myself from the competition or archery. But he has this arrow in the bow, he may either put that arrow down, he may not throw, or he may arrow aim that, he may just throw it that arrow aim at, but because he has withdrawn himself from the competition, so whether he puts the arrow in the some point or not, there is no question of getting first, second, third, nothing. So who will get the result of his throwing of this arrow now? He says that Papa Purna, whatever the arrow falls, those who does good to him will get the result of his good karma, and whatever does bad to him, he will get the result of his Papa Karma. That way he says that which is had in his hand. But which arrow he has already thrown earlier, before he's taking decision that I'll be withdrawing myself from the competition, some arrow he has already thrown earlier, which is not more no more in his hand now. It's not in his shoulder, not in his hand that he can take a decision. He can review that. He cannot go back and again that recheck and change that decision, because those arrows already been thrown earlier towards some point. So whatever good and bad, whatever the point has happened earlier in earlier competition, he has become first, second, or whatever that there. So that result he has to take. He cannot reject anymore, because that has been already done earlier. So that is called prarabdha karma, which is done, work has been done by earlier, and this birth he has taken over this body. So accordingly, he has been judged by his earlier work. He'll that, like I gave the example of blind or like that. He has to bear the circumstances wherever that earlier arrows have been thrown to the bullseye, hit or not. Accordingly, it will be judged through that. That is no more in his hand. That is the prarabdha karma. So this is the idea of prarabdha, sanchita, and agamiya kriyamana karma. And another way also this example is given, that it is said that prarabdha karma is from the idea of the other onlookers, those who are other people who have seen that jnani, he thinks that he has done that prarabdha karma. For prarabdha karma he is suffering or not, that blindness, whatever we are seeing that. But this is from the onlookers from side. From the ajnani side, when an ajnani is seeing that jnani, he thinks whatever he is suffering or enjoying, that it is prarabdha karma. But from the standpoint of the Jnani himself or herself, he is not suffering anymore from the Prarabdha karma. This is another important thing. From the Jnani's standpoint, from his standpoint, he is no more, he is not suffering anything from Prarabdha karma. For his standpoint is Ishvara Ichha. So the will of God, whatever good and bad is happening, he is very happy with that. He is very content with that. But the other person may think that, see, even a Jnani is suffering so much, that Thakur is having cancer, Raman Maharshi has cancer, or Swamiji is having so much pain, so much disease for these things, that either Prarabdha karma or some cause they will think, or any other Jnani. But from the standpoint of Jnani, he is not at all suffering from Prarabdha karma also. This is the highest ideal. From his standpoint, it is just by Ishvara's Leela. Leela of Ishvara, Ishvara's Leela, Ishvara is playing through his body. Whatever Ishvara wills is happening through a good time, bad time, or suffering. Everything is Ishvara's Leela from him. He is ever happy with that. He really is not suffering. And he is always happy. Outer people may think that he is suffering, but inwardly he is always happy. So this is what we are ending that, and now the last point is coming, that 38.3. He's saying that Tathacha Atma Avit Samsaram Tirtva Brahmanandam Iha Eva Prapnati. Tathacha, by this way, Tathacha, this way also Atmavit, once who has known the self, known the Atman, with Samsaram Tirtva, he crosses the samsara, that the samsara janma mrityu chakra, he crosses over, is not born again. Unless I told that, unless due to Ishvara Ichha, he needs to take birth again for the welfare of the world. That is a special case when Ishvara Ichha, he may take birth again. Like Sri Ramkrishna says, I have to come back again. Ishvara Koti, sometimes they need to have come birth again and again. Similarly, it is said like only by Ishvara Ichha, those are special cases, those are exceptions. But otherwise, the Jivanmukta Jnani is, he gets rid, crosses the samsara, Brahmanandam Viha Eva Prapnadi. Here itself, in this birth only, in this body only, he gets the supreme bliss, the Brahmananda, the bliss of Brahman, the bliss of Atman. Here itself, he gets that. Tarati Shokam Atmavit iti Srutehe. In the Sruti, in the Upanishads, in the Vedas, it is said that Tarati Shokam is the person, the Brahmajnani, he crosses over the sorrows, or the Atmavit, who is the knower of Brahman, knower of Atman, he crosses all the shoka, all the sorrows. He is no more confined in sorrows. That's why I said that from the standpoint of Brahmajnani, from Jivanmukta, he is not at all suffering from Prarabdha. For other people, they may think that person is suffering from Prarabdha and he is suffering through sorrows, pains, so many things, and affliction, difficulties. From his own his or her own standpoint, from a Brahmajnani, he is never in the sorrow. He is going beyond the sorrow. Sometimes it may appear to be like crying and this. There is, Thakur says that it is Maya, it happens, but in any point of time, he can very fast get rid of that also. That's the Leela, Ishvara Leela. But for the common people, what happens? When he becomes a sorrow, he gets depressed and so many problems happen. But for Atmavit, though it appears to be a short time, he is crying and sorrow there, but very fast he can get rid of that and he can understand that he is real Swarupa, Nitya Shuddha Mukta, and he can get rid of the sorrow in his deep self. He is never become perturbed by, he is not swayed away or become carried away by these sorrows. He can withstand all those pains and sufferings. And also the Smriti Shastra also, it is given the same thing. Earlier he supported the Smriti Shastra, the Upanishads, the Veda, the Tarati Shokam Atmavit. Now he'll quote the Smriti Shastra. Shruti and Smriti, we said that both are our Shastras. Shruti is for all time the Vedas, and Smriti is the other ones, that Puranas, Itihasa, etc. The Smriti Shastra. Here we said, Tanum Tyajati va Kashyam Swapachasya गृहे अथवा ज्ञान संप्राप्ति समय मुक्त असौ विगत आशयः इति स्मृतिश्च. They say tanum tyajatu. Tanu, when body, tanu means body. When tyajatu, when he leaves the body, who this Brahmajnani, where va Kashyam. Kashyam in Kashi, in Varanasi. They said Varanasi is the Mokshapuri. When whoever passes in passes away, dies in Varanasi, gets mukti. But say here it's saying for a Brahmagani, whether he leaves his body in Kashi, in Varanasi, Swapachasya Grihe Athava, or he leaves his body in the Swapachasya Grihe, in the house of whom? The Swapacha. Swapacha means dog and means the dog, and Swapachasya who is taking of eater of dog means Chandala, who's a Panchama Chandala. So who's a Chandala, even if a Brahmagani, he dies in the Kashi, in Varanasi. If Varanasi one dies, anybody who dies, he becomes liberated. But for Brahmagani, it must not necessary to be die in Kashi even. Even if he dies in a house of a Chandala, Panchama, who is a dog and eater of a dog, and who is not versed in the Veda, and is not versed in the good conduct and so on. But even then, Jnana Samprapti Samay, because he's been Samprapti, he had got that the liberated, when he had got that Jnana Samprapti, when he got liberated, when he got that knowledge, when he becomes Jivanmukta, whenever he becomes Jivanmukta, that time itself, Mukta, so he became liberated. The moment he got the Jnana, that Brahma Jnana, that time itself he got liberated. For him, there is no necessity to die at Kashi to get liberated. During his knowledge, Atma, then when he got the Ishvara Jnana, Atma Jnana, that time itself he got liberated. For him, no need to him or her, no need to die in the Varanasi to get liberation. Even if he dies in a house of Swapacha, means of Chandala, who is Panchama, who is not versed in Veda, or who does some wrong deed also, even if he dies in that house also, he is Vigata Ashaya, he is without any doubt that because he is free from all results of actions, he is gone beyond all the karma. This prarabdha, we say the prarabdha, agami, kriyamana, and this sanchita karma. That's why wherever he dies, he becomes liberated. It is 20, it is said. It's not necessary for Brahmagani to die in Kashi. For any other people, everybody wants to die in Kashi so that he becomes liberated. For a Brahmagani, because he is already liberated, Jivanmukta already liberated. For him, anybody he dies, whether in a Kashi or in a lowly and who is not versed in Veda and not in good conduct, like example, give an example like a Chandala Panchana, he will get liberated wherever he dies. With this, Om Tat Sat, the he is ending this Tattva Bodha, Sri Shankaracharya. Wonderfully we ended today, and if some questions or discussions should be there, we can do that. Today is the last class for the Tattvabodha. Any questions over the whole Tattvabodha, we can listen and discuss. Anybody, any question or any ideas? Today is the last this completing class. Anybody wants to ask? Bolu. Good.
প্রণাম মহারাজ।
হ্যাঁ,
এটা কি নেক্সট বার্থেও কন্টিনিউ হবে লিবারেশনটা, যেটা মানে এই জন্মে আমি যদি ধরুন জীবনমুক্ত হয়ে গেলাম, আমি নেক্সট বার্থেও কি আমি এটা বুঝতে পারবো? কারণ আমার যেটা মনে হয়, যেমন স্বামীজিকে ঠাকুর বোঝালেন, বুদ্ধদেবকে সাধন করতে হয়েছে, তো জীবনমুক্ত মানুষের কি হয়? মাস্টারমশাইও তো জীবনমুক্ত ছিলেন, তাকেও তো বোঝাতে হয়েছিল, নাহলে উনি সুইসাইড করতে যাচ্ছিলেন কেন? এইটা আমি একটু বোধহয় বুঝতে পারছি না।
যেই জন্মে জীবনমুক্ত হলে তখন যখন জীবনমুক্ত মাস্টারের সাথে জীবনমুক্ত হয়ে জন্মাননি।
আচ্ছা,
তিনি অন্য সকলের মতোই মানুষ হয়ে এসেছিলেন। যখন তার জীবনমুক্তি স্টেট হচ্ছে, whenever one realizes, then one is become জীবনমুক্ত. He's not taking birth is জীবনমুক্ত. When after sadhana he realizing his after some time, whenever at whatever age he may realize that. Buddha earlier birth he was not Buddha. Earlier birth he tried to do through sadhana, he tried to do better and better. And in the birth of Buddha, that time he becomes Jivanmukta. He became Buddha. In earlier births of Buddha, Jataka story, that one he was not Buddha. That one he was still an Ajnani, he was still in the Ajnana. So that way, when one becomes Jivanmukta, that birth, there is no more birth. Here it is 30.3 it is said, Tathaja Atmavid Sankaran Sritva. In this, when one becomes Jivanmukta, whichever birth after getting realizing, then he samsara dukkha, then it becomes everything gets rid of him, then the whole world and that it becomes nashak. Not before that.
ঠিক আছে।
But some
তাহলে
special
নাগ মহাশয়কে দেখতে পাই এরকম না
Brahma also, yes.
স্টার্টিং থেকে।
Yes. But and special cases, Swami says that Ananda Shastra also says the special cases, even after Jivan Mukti, they can be born again. But those are special cases, not all. Jivan Mukta means it is getting rid of this Dharma Mrityu Samsara Chakra, is no more born again.
না
But
ঠাকুর
special
যেমন
case,
বলেছেন যে কলমির দল
ওই তো special, those are special like Ishvara Koti and others, the Sri Krishna's avatar and others. Ishvara Ichha, who's this, they only come back, even after Jivan Mukti, they come back again for next birth or some other birth for the welfare of the world, not everybody. Otherwise, by Jivan Mukti, either by 21 days, his body will fall away, he'll die, like Jivakati says, or in for special case Mahapurusha that Ishwar Ichha, he is alive for few more years or whatever, many years also he can be alive, so that for the good of the world, to teach the world about Brahma Jnana. But after when he dies, then he will not be again born again. But some special cases that Ishvara, will of Ishvara, that Jivan Mukta can again become born in future some other birth to teach the world. Those are the special cases.
আচ্ছা আরেকটা প্রশ্ন মহারাজজি, যদি আমার জীবনের উদ্দেশ্য হয় ঈশ্বর দর্শন, তো সেটা কি অটোমেটিক্যালি কনভার্ট হয়ে যাবে জীবন মুক্তিতে, না আমাকে জীবন মুক্তির ইচ্ছাটাও রাখতে হবে সেই সঙ্গে?
This Ishvara Darshan depends on it because when we are telling Ishvara Darshan, this is a Saguna Shakara Darshan. So that state, if that state, like in the end, we can get the Ishta Darshan during death, time of deathbed, like that. And then we go to Ishta Loka, which is Satya Loka, Brahma Loka, to that Ishta Loka. Wherever Goloka or Ramakrishna Loka, Shiva Loka, everybody's own Ishta is there. So go to that Ishta Loka, and from there in that Loka, he will carry on sadhana, and in the Kalpa, in the end of Kalpa, he will be liberated. It's not liberated at that time. This is called Krama Mukti. So this is the common for most people. Krama Mukti. This is not liberated at that time in this birth itself. Being Jivan Mukti is the rarest one, that you are getting liberated by alive, and your body is still there. That you are not dying, that your still body is still there, so that for the good of the world, you have to teach the world about this Brahmajnana, you are still there, alive. So this is the highest one. That is the Jivan Mukta state, you are still alive. And still higher, we have said that you may come back again by the will of God, like Avatara and Ishvara, Prasanna Ishvara, this may come back again and again. With this Kolmit Daljan Bala Hoiche, they may come back again and again. So that is the special cases, exceptions I said. Otherwise, for Jivan Mukta, he is alive while he is well liberated. Till his body falls up, he is alive. Second one is Videha Mukti. Videha Mukti means during this, when a body dies, that time he is get liberated. Like 21 days, he got that Jivanmukti state, and by 21 days, body is falling off. He is no more alive. By 20, after 21 days, he passes away. So Videha Mukti, that end of birth, end of his life, he is getting liberated. And another is Krama Mukti. He is getting the darshan of Ishta. Ishvara darshan happens while he is alive or during this deathbed. Through that Ishvara darshan, he is not getting Jivan Mukti, but due to Ishvara darshan, he goes to that Ishvara, that Ishta Loka, according to his own Ishta, and in his Ishta Loka he is carrying on his sadhana. And in the end of Kalpa, when this everything dissolution happens, or there by grace of his Ishta, to Ishvara's grace, here he gets liberated, that Loka, whether Ramakrishna Loka or whichever Ishta Loka is there, his own Ishta Loka. So that is Krama Mukti. So Krama Mukti is the most common for all of us, that happens. And other ones are the rare ones.
আচ্ছা, তাহলে আমরা ভবনাথকে কি এই ক্যাটাগরির মধ্যে ফেলতে পারি?
How to, we don't know that what happened to that only they themselves or the great persons, they can say. What of the end of Bhavanath, we don't know that. I don't remember that. What happened in his end his life, or What do you remember?
জীবনমুক্ত তো ছিলেনই উনি।
I don't remember right now his biographical. I don't know, so I cannot speak much about it right now.
আচ্ছা মহারাজ, আচ্ছা
But
ঠিক আছে।
what happened to it, I don't know which category he falls. That we cannot say. One thing I don't remember his biography in details, so I'm not in a position to speak about that. And in other way also, that we're not in a position to speak of everybody's own state. Some people we can speak that we see, like in You Will Be a Paramahamsa, that book. One that 21 days one passes away, then one example has been given there. In Kankal, Haridwar, Ramakrishna Mission.
হরিদ্বার, হ্যাঁ।
And otherwise, Jivanmukta, we see that many Brahmanas like Ramana Maharshi we have seen, and there are other Jivanmukta also we have seen. And here avatars are.
শ্রী অরবিন্দ
Could be, but I'm not, typically I do not know about the state of that, their relation state, whichever has been told by himself or others. But special comment that unless we read and know that, I cannot comment about that directly.
ঠিক আছে।
Because I have read about that Sri Ramana Maharshi, that his own experience, what he said about that, and following what happened, so that because I read that I could speak of Sri Ramana Maharshi. But Sri Aurobindo, I have not read in details of the experience or in future videos, so I cannot speak in details.
ঠিক ঠিক আছে, প্রণাম মহারাজ।
So we are end was Tattva today with this. Any more ideas and questions, discussions, again we can do later also. Sri Aurobindo, I read only few ones, Uttapada's speech and India's rebirth and his nationalistic, those lectures and those I mostly read. I didn't read much about his spiritual that lectures or his writings. That's why I'm not in a position to speak too much about faith realization state. আমি only ওই জাতীয়তা বোধের কথাগুলো বেশি পড়েছি, উত্তরপাড়া লেকচার আর ইন্ডিয়াস রিভার্টে। আমার অন্যগুলো নিয়ে অতটা ডিটেলস করেনি। ওনার তো there is a huge collection of his contributors and very little bit very strong English also, not the very easy English players, and huge collection. I didn't read too much about silver comment. আমরা আজকে এটা দিয়ে শেষ করি। शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम तत्सत्। श्री रामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।